my family, big part of my life. Without you being there for all the ups and downs and support, to support me through all the ups and downs. We celebrated, we cried, but you guys have made me the person I am, and we all talk about purposes or having a purpose in life and in your footy career, and you guys definitely are that for me.
On today's show, Fremantle great Michael Walters retires, and another debutant for the West Coast Eagles. Welcome to the West Sports Show. We are brought to you by TABtouch. Got the touch? Download the TABtouch app today. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. I am joined by Mitchell Woodcock on a very special Thursday. How are you, Mitch?
I'm well, Quarters. Yes, it's been a big week in WA football, and always feels like a big week in WA football, but this week it's just, it's monumental, isn't it?
Big retirements. On Tuesday, it was Dom Sheed at West Coast. Today, at Fremantle, it was Son, Michael Walters. 239 AFL games, 365 goals, All-Australian, 5-time Fremantle leading goal kicker and a life member of that club. We'll all remember Son. The tumultuous start he had there when he was sent away by Coach Ross Lyons saying, your standards are too low, they're not good enough for AFL level. He returned, took the bit between the teeth, and I remember Ross Lyons' quote, when he returned, he said he's now an elite preparer. A very humble individual, spoke beautifully at his retirement today, and interestingly, reflective of where the club's at. I think they're very all in Freo. There were the players, there was the staff, there was Michael Walters' family there, but there were also the construction workers who were doing the refurbishment, the reconstruction of Coburn down there, with the AFLW facilities. They actually came in and had a listen to the conference, and afterwards Sonny, as he does, signed a few helmets. So, look, I'll remember him as the player, the chase down tackles, the goals, the mercurial player, the goals that he was able to kick when they really needed him with the game on the line. I'll remember his mark on three-quarter time in the 23 grand final, which I think put them about 6 points down against Hawthorn. So he's played in the grand final. I mean, he is right at the front, the pointy end of the real rich history they've had of Indigenous footballers at that club. And when he spoke today, he spoke about all of that. The fact that, of course, he wanted to go on, but that chronic knee injury just didn't allow him to. I asked him how he would like to be remembered.
Someone that just enjoyed it. Someone that just enjoyed football. Obviously, footy's a tough industry to be in. A lot of internal and external pressures, but every time I was at the club and every time I played football, suited up in the purple kit, always had fun. Always wanted to be a role model, always wanted to inspire, and always wanted to be the best teammate I could be. And at times I said to the boys today that I may have rubbed a few feathers along the way, but it was all in a way that I wanted to just get better, wanted the club to get better, wanted success, and there's nothing more to this day that I want to see this club reach success and enjoy the fruits of all their hard work.
There's a really funny press conference too, Mitch. He was talking about next pre-season. He reckons he'd be sitting on a deck chair on the outer there.
No doubt.
At Coburn with a bottle of Gatorade, just watching his teammates. It was pretty funny. I also spoke to him about, so I think we're in the same boat here. We would have loved to have seen Son play again in finals, as we hope Nat Fyfe recovers in time to play finals this year. He spoke really glowingly of Nat Fyfe as well today, and Matthew Pavlich, just two of the great players, teammates he's played with. We asked him whether he would, was it bittersweet if the Dockers were able to win the flag this year, and he said, I'll be on the ground. I might be commentating. He said, I'll be really nice to them. But this is what he had to say when I asked him how far he thought they could go this season.
I reckon they can go the whole way. If they stay in the moment. It's one of those things that footy you can look back, but then you can also look too far ahead as well. But this group is a mature group. They got the right coaching staff and everyone around them with the right leaders. They're in a good spot where they can just focus on the now, keep playing consistent footy, keep playing their brand of footy. Obviously, it's going to be tough. We're not saying it's going to be easy. Still a lot of water to go under the bridge, but at the same time, you can never say never either. You have to be confident in what you can do, confident in your ability, and having confidence in the coaching staff and what they put together, and that should keep you in good stead to compete. But what we want to do is win a premiership.
I think he'll be good at whatever he does, Sonny, after this. He doesn't know what he's going to do yet. I think he'll have some role in the media. I think we've seen the stuff he does with the West Australian, the stuff he's done with Channel 7. I think he's just a talent that will then pivot towards the media. He'll probably be involved at some stage in footy as well, I would suggest, whether that's with Freo, whether that's back with Swan Districts, maybe in Midvale, But he also spoke about Bushby Street and that beautiful connection he has with Midvale and that area, and how he goes back there regularly. And, of course, the street produced Sonny Walters, Nick Natnui and Chris Yarran.
Yeah, it's amazing. I remember watching them as a Swan District supporter in 2010. I remember watching him in that flag, and even just watching him at Colts level and league level before he was an AFL
State 16s too. He lit it up, didn't he?
He was just an incredible player. I was kind of lucky. Well, I was lucky enough to have actually watched what would probably be his last professional football game, not AFL game, at the Waffle when he was down there at Peel Thunder. And he didn't have a great day that day. He only had 3 touches and just didn't look the Michael Walters of old, and that's understandable. But what stood out for me, and I think I'll remember him for this, is the legacy he leaves behind. He was such a leader that day. You could see him talking to young players and pointing and trying to be... His involvement in the game was so much more that day against South Fremantle. And I think that's the legacy he'll leave at that club, is not just an Indigenous leader, but a leader overall for Fremantle and a really staunch purple man. You think about the likes of Matthew Pavlich, Nat Fyfe and Luke McFarlane. I think he's in that group.
David Mundy.
Yeah, I think he's in that group of not only just players, but leaders and icons of that football club.
I reckon it's really cool, as much as we wanted him to play a bit more this year, that his last official game, let's call it that, because there was a pre-season game that followed, his last official game was captaining the Indigenous All-Stars against Freo.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
And played all right that day too.
Yeah, he played very well. Probably shouldn't have been playing, albeit with the knee injury now reflecting on it. And even at the
desperately
time,
wanted to play given the occasion.
But it was amazing, and it's probably going to change that game, the course of a lot of football with State of Origin and the Indigenous All-Stars coming back a lot more. So incredible the legacy he'll leave. And yeah, really sad to see him go out the way he is, but that's football, isn't it? Unfortunately, it doesn't take any prisoners.
There's very few fairy tale finishes, but the career's been a great one from the start to the finish, and he can be really proud of what he achieved. And I can see him having a leading role with that Indigenous All-Stars team, whether it's played every 2 years, which we expect it to be. I think he will be involved in that for sure, and he won't be lost for football. So well done, Sonny Walters. Sit back, relax. Rest the knee, get a bit of ice on it. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And watch your teammates hopefully deliver you some maiden silverware at the end of the year. And no one would begrudge him jumping the fence and giving him a couple of hugs, would they?
No, I reckon he'll be on the sidelines there, pumped as anybody else.
Interesting training session at Fremantle today prior to that announcement. Alex Pearce looked pretty good. He was asked to complete a pretty rigorous fitness test. He did the warm-up. Did some one-on-ones, played on Josh Tracy for a while, pretty brutal tackle on Jai Amos at one stage and sprung back to his feet, finished off with some work on the ruck bag. So I'm not sure which way they're going to go. They may take a conservative approach. It's hard to see a matchup for him in that Sydney team on Sunday. And even though Justin Longmuir, the coach, said the surface won't come into consideration, and we'll talk about that in a minute, I'm just not sure if they don't give him another week, just to be absolutely sure. I'd love to see him play, but may save him for Hawthorn the following week at home, which is going to be a huge game, probably an 8-point game in many ways. So also Jay Gro-Mira looked pretty good out the track today too. Hayden Young's progressing really well. Sam Switkowski's not far off. Cooper Simpson's starting to look a bit sharper. So, those long-term injured players, I think they're starting to come back. So I think their availability is pretty good. If you take Sonny Walters out of it and Nat Fyfe, we're not sure what he looks like going forward, but all things going well. Now, West Coast, some news. You've been down at Andrew McCalder's press conference. Firstly, what did he say? And an 8th debutant this week.
Yeah, so Malakai Champion, the Next Generation Academy rookie, will make his debut. He'll be the sub tomorrow night against Greater Western
It's a bit
Sydney.
sad.
Yeah, he didn't
It's a bit curmudgeonly. Come on, Eagles. Why are you subbing him? You've won one game.
Well, to be fair, McQualter actually said he didn't like it.
Oh,
and he's the one doing
play
it.
him, start him.
But the 22 that competed last week against Collingwood probably deserves to retain their spot. So what this means, so Malakai Champion, we'll just touch on that first though. Incredible journey. Kid from Kalgoorlie, came up here when he was 15 in December 2021 with his mum and his mum's partner at the time. A few weeks later, lost his father. Has since lost his uncle, his grandfather and his great-grandfather, who he's all very close to. Just kept fighting, really. A smaller guy with pace, loves to tackle. Andrew McQualter pretty much said at the start of the press conference that, at the start of the year, Malakai was nowhere near ready to play AFL footy, but he's worked on himself incredibly. The stats don't really say much when it comes to goals for him at waffle level, albeit their team is struggling. He had nearly 11 tackles 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago against Peel Thunder, but it's his pressure that he brings, that elite speed, the follow-up work.
Attributes that Andrew McQualter loves in his team.
Exactly. So he's going to come in here with the 8th debutant. It only leaves 3 Eagles on the list that actually haven't played AFL football yet.
So they are...
Cohen Livingston, who was the NGA Rookie the year before, the ruckman. Luca Grego was drafted last year. And Jacob Newton, who was picked up in the mid-season rookie draft as well only a few months ago, or less than 2 months ago. So 3 Eagles on the entire list haven't played at all at AFL level. It's incredible. But it shows the incredible turnover this club's having and how much they're changing. What this does mean, though, is there has been a player come out of the side. It's Jaden Hunt, the wingman. So only had 2 disposals against Carlton before the bye, was subbed out of that game, and was the sub at the weekend, only had the 1 disposal against Collingwood. He'll go back to the waffle. Interestingly, one of the things that happened under Adam Simpson in the last few years is their injury toll was so bad that when players would come back from injury, they would pretty much have to go straight back into the AFL side. The Eagles don't have to do that at the moment. So Tom Cole, who's coming back from a hamstring, and Matt Owies, who's back from a calf, will both play waffle this weekend against Subiaco with Jaden Hunt. So this competition for spots is there now, Quarters. So players don't have to be rushed straight back in. This is a really good sign for West Coast.
It's a good sign. I still say it's a bit curmudgeonly. Play him on the starting 22. Come on.
I still think there's going to be... I think that it's a beautiful moment. The NAIDOC week, they're going to wear the Indigenous strip tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Watch out for him. I reckon there's a goal and a celebration in this, and I reckon there's something special coming.
Yeah.
Mines Rovers, by the way, big week for them. So Dom Sheed retired this week, obviously from Mines Rovers. Well, that's where Malakai Champion was from. Debuted at 15 in the league side.
Debuted at age 15.
Yep. I spoke to
It'd be a bit of a rough old game, wouldn't it?
I spoke to the president today for a feature in tomorrow's paper, and it'll be online tonight. And he said it was our smallest player, our youngest player, and our most important player. And he said when they handed him his Guernsey, he spoke like a 200 gamer. That's just called him a gentleman about 4 times in the interview. So I think that says a lot about the young man. Came to the club with that shocking blonde hair. Has now gone back to his normal hair, which was quite funny. But he stood out. I liked it. I reckon he's a really good player. I think he's got something special. He's tiny in terms of, AFL is not very tall, but he's put on a bit of strength, a bit of size. I think he's going to be really good. Stood out last year.
Small forward. Yep. Can he go mid?
Eventually, but I think it's going to be a while. I think he's going to be a small pressure forward. Stood out in his Waffle League debut, ironically, against West Coast Waffle side, kicked 3 goals for Subiaco and had 7 goals in his first 3 games. So watch out for this young man. Really excited to see how he goes.
And a big state 18s championships last year too.
Oh, he was electric in that side. So I can't wait to watch him. I think it's really exciting. I'll put my hand up and admit I actually didn't think he'd debut this year. I thought of all the players, he was the furthest behind. I thought it would be a Tyrell Dewar sort of situation where he'd have a couple of years in the system before he'd get a look in, or 18 months like he did. But credit to the kid, he's brought the attributes that Andrew McQualter's looking for, which is not 25 disposals and 4 goals. Well, he probably is looking for that, but the base attributes is that run, tackle, pressure, and the elite ability to just repeat that consistently. And that's what he's brought to the team.
You've been busy on the podcast front this week. So tell us about the Milan Murdock podcast and the feature.
Yeah, we were lucky to have Milan in. So speaking of the mid-season rookie draft, Milan was very close to going to West Coast. And if the stars had aligned a little differently, he'd probably be playing either Waffle or maybe even tomorrow night at Optus Stadium. So he just spoke about his disappointment about missing out. Obviously, he had that medical and had the meeting with West Coast the day before after Jake Waterman got ruled out with that shoulder injury. They took Jacob Newton at West Coast with pick 9. He was meant to go to Carlton with pick 4, and that changed the whole basically the whole way that went about it. So fascinating the way that happens. But yeah, great to chat to Milan. An excellent player. Still only 25. Just turned 25 on Monday, I believe. So hopefully he still gets a chance at it. I think he's one of the elite players in the waffle and one of the favourites for the Sandover this year, definitely.
Well, we better ask our producer, Josh, where that's available.
I think you'll find that's at the West YouTube or just with the TheWestSport show. It's another little special, another little breakout special. You had the day off yesterday. I felt lonely.
Okay.
I needed someone in here to talk to.
Well, you were busy enough, mate. Before we get on to some games, picking some winners, I just want to talk about the SCG turf. So it's still an issue. So
I'm strong on this.
Spoke to Justin Longmuir this morning, and he said, no, we're playing at the SCG. The AFL has doubled down on that. There will be a final inspection tomorrow, but they will play there. Clearly, there's an issue with, just rearranging. So your corporates, your catering. I think they should have made the call Monday, Tuesday, and just said it's at NG Stadium. The fact is they had an alternative, and even if there's a minuscule chance, the surface just looked inferior at the moment. So they're going to play their Freo. They'll have several selections of footwear to wear, but I'm just concerned for them.
This is the most ridiculous thing. This is this season. This is the most ridiculous thing I've seen this season, and we've seen some ridiculous stuff. I'm adamant that this is stupid, to be honest. Like, how can you play there after what we saw last week, and then with the rain?
Yeah.
Like when we saw Bailey Dale, I think it was Bailey Dale,
Yeah, it was.
Bailey Williams, sorry,
Bailey
nearly
Williams.
roll his ankle. Like, imagine if Caleb Sarong does his knee on this turf.
Well, let's not say that.
No, but I'm saying, but these are the sort of or Josh Tracy, lands awkwardly on something and does an ankle. Like, these are the sort of things that not only change the course of teams' history, but for someone like Justin,
they can flip a season. Yeah,
it can
that's
flip
right.
a career. Justin, if Caleb Sarong goes out for 12 months, Justin may not be there at the end of that time because they're not successful on the field. These are. I'm sorry, Quarters. I just cannot believe they're playing there. I know that there's corporates and stuff, but we've changed things on a whim. We saw with COVID that we were adaptable and flexible, and they ran around spruiking all this.
Agree.
They cannot play there. And even if they laid new turf, you can't tell me that new turf's going to be settled to play there. I just don't understand it. It's been raining. Even if it is okay, it's a massive risk. And I'm flabbergasted by this decision.
Surely Justin Longmuir wants to control the narrative of that, and that's fine. You do what you're told by the AFL, but he needs the players to be on board. The surface is fine. I get what he's saying, but we don't have to agree.
It's
and I'm
so
certainly
dangerous.
on the same page as you. I hope that everyone's okay.
So do I.
On Sunday. And by the way, it was ridiculous to watch the shifting turf. I thought I was watching Earthquake from 1975 when I was watching that game. But by the way, it was one of the better games of the season. Strangely, it was a cracking game. So let's hope we get a bit of the same on Sunday. We will get into that game. Let's pick some winners, mate. But before we do, let's hear the latest odds from Tim Walker at TABtouch.
Shorty's Tips.
G'day, producer Josh here, and with me is Tim Walker. G'day, Tim.
Hello to you, Josh. Great to be with you.
Now, it's a West Aussie who's hot this week.
It certainly is. His name is Daniel Curtin from the Adelaide Footy Club. He scored the perfect 10 coaches' votes in the Crows' win over the Tigers. He's now an $11 chance to win the Rising Star Award.
And no surprises about the cooler this week.
Yeah, they've been in the news all week of the Carlton Footy Club. They had a poor night against Port Adelaide, and they're now out to $31 just to make the top 8.
And who's your hot tip?
Look, I'll take the Western Bulldogs and Adelaide at the respective lines of 42.5 and 26.5, and Brisbane just to win. That's paying $4.40. I think we can make $1 there.
Nice. And on the drift this weekend?
Yeah, it's the Fremantle Dockers, surprisingly. They've won 6 in a row, looking to make it 7 against the Swans at the SCG, but they're $2.25, out to $2.40.
Let's just hope that the SCG turf holds up for them.
Yeah, exactly right. It's been a kind hunting ground for the Dockers of late. A couple of wins there the last few years.
And your play to watch?
Yeah, Miles Bergman. He signed a fresh new deal during the course of the week, and he had a big night against Carlton last week with 25 disposals and 2 goals. He's had 20 or more disposals in 4 of his last 5 games. He's $1.43 to do that again, or $3.05 to have 25 or more disposals.
Thanks very much, Tim. Have a great weekend.
All the best.
Tonight, 5:30pm, Marvel Stadium, North Melbourne, $10, Western Bulldogs, $1.05. A raft of outs for the Kangaroos. Luke Parker, Jack Darling, Luke McDonald, Zach Fisher managed. And coming off a horrific performance against Hawthorn. I expected a lot more, mate. I still think they've taken a step forward this season, but that was a shocker. That was like toes up early. Nah, too hard. Launceston, not interested. They need to be better than that. What I don't like around this, by the way, I'm picking the Western Bulldogs. They are flying at the moment. I don't like that. This is the 100th year anniversary for the North Melbourne Footy Club. There's going to be some history around them tonight. These, Sam Kekovich, John Burns, I think's the other one, and a few other players from their 75 premiership got their noses out of joint about the fact that it's the actual function that's being held for the 100th year. Just turn up. The club needs you more than they ever have right now. I just don't like the look of it. But I'll move on pretty quickly. I think Dogs win this pretty easy. You?
Yeah, over 1,000 games experience, I think it was, coming out of that side. And if there's any team in the AFL that can't afford to lose that, it's North Melbourne. Dogs are flying. Sam Darcy to kick a bag here. Bont's on a roll.
What about
Ed
Joel
Richards,
Frazier?
Joel Frazier.
How good is he?
They're some
Baby
outstanding
Bont.
footballers. Bulldogs are the team that every team in the top 8 doesn't want to make finals. So they're barracking for every team that plays them.
Speaking of teams under the pump,
Oi.
Carlton, MCG Friday night, 5:20pm. Carlton $4.60, Collingwood $1.19. No, I think it's done, aren't they? Put a fork in them in terms of
so
finals.
Collingwood will win this. Carlton are really playing poorly, and they'll probably turn up. But
Well, I hope they turn up because otherwise there'll only be one team on the field. It's easy to turn up.
Well,
It's
they
what
didn't-
happens when you turn up.
they didn't turn up mentally last week.
No.
They weren't there. They are under pressure, and they put in that insipid performance against Port Adelaide to start. It was terrible. That first half was terrible. That was the worst football they've played all year.
So the couple of things have to happen for Carlton. Well, the problem with Carlton is the one-dimensionality. So the top 5 or 6 players, if they don't perform, they're no chance. I also hope they're fit and well. So clearly, Patrick Cripps, well done for putting on the Superman cape and getting out there. But he was sick, and you could see he was a shadow of himself. So era playing, right? The club shouldn't have allowed him to play. Jacob Wiedering was one leg hobbling around on an ankle. So these are the players they can't win without. But you just got to make a statement. So I expect a statement tonight. It's always a big game, Carlton Collingwood. Friday night. It'll be chockers at the MCG. I'd like to see a competitive effort. And West Coast showed last week in Melbourne with a 29-point loss. You can take it up to them. The problem with Collingwood is you got to get them at the source. You got to get exits around the stoppage, and you got to get them post clearance as well because they're just really, really hard to stop. So Carlton, it's not the week, not the team you want to play. The week you want to turn it around.
I just want to shut down one thing straight away that I hear in the last few weeks. Paddy Cripps isn't coming to West Coast. Paddy Cripps, there's this talk of West Coast should get Paddy Cripps and Carlton get draft picks for him. A, the cost for West Coast would be too much. B, Patrick Cripps is not jumping off that sinking ship. He's the captain. He's too proud. And he just won a Brownlow medal last year. So I kind of want to kill that narrative. I find that, never say never, but I can't see it happening.
Friday night, Optus Stadium, 6:20pm, another overlapping game. Carlton Collingwood, West Coast, 365. The Giants, $1.28. Giants have been an enigma this season. Just when you think you got a hold on them, they just upset. They just go out and lose. So I don't think that's happening on Friday night. Really well stacked midfield. Finn Callaghan, he's the key to them. I mean, I know they've got Tom Green, Toby Green, Josh Kelly, but Finn Callaghan for me, if you can get the ball in his hands, he's just devastating metres gained. So he's the one they'll be looking at. Having said all that, we just spoke about the Eagles. They're really they're a very competitive side this year. Great debut from Jobe Shanahan.
Yep.
Tom McCarthy, back-to-back games, fantastic by him. Another an 8th debutant. We spoke about him earlier in Malakai Champion. So expecting to see, I hope we can see that tall, that young West Coast forward line at least trouble the Giants. And, of course, no Jesse Hogan by the looks of it. So
yeah, what I will say is
Giants win this one though.
They do, and there's plenty of optimism around West Coast, and I understand that, and I'm happy for that. I think we quickly forget though that they conceded 10 of the first 11 goals against Carlton before the bye because it was so long ago. So even Andrew McQualter basically said, yeah, there's a lot of excitement around, but let's pump the brakes on saying we're the finished product. They're nowhere near it. So look, West Coast have got to turn up to play in terms of mentally, like I said with Carlton, because if they don't, for me, I know you said Finn Callaghan. For me, Tom Green's the guy. That game against Gold Coast where he had, I think it was over a dozen clearances.
And one of the goals of the season, the double dummy.
And West Coast really have trouble at the clearances, even against Collingwood last week. They've been their biggest problem at times. And it's where, even though Hogan kicked 9 goals last time they played in round 4, they were walking it out the front
Do you
of the
reckon
clearance.
Sandy Brock will be breathing a sigh of relief?
A little bit.
9 goals conceded on debut.
but-
Maybe he's been pretty good since Sandy Brock.
He has been. But my point there, Quarters, is, and I think anybody could have kicked a bag that day because they were, and there's no disrespect to Jesse Hogan, but they were walking it out of clearances at one stage. So I think, I remember during one quarter it was, clearance, bang, goal, clearance, bang, goal, clearance, bang, goal before you knew it. So West Coast have got to stop that set and clearance dominance by the Giants. And if they don't, it's going to be a long day.
Eagles have won 4 of their last 5 matches against the Giants at Optus Stadium, by the way, by an average winning margin of 24 points. If the Giants go deep this year, they'll be the handball heroes, mate, because they've gained more metres from handballs than their opponents in all but one match, averaging 279.1 more, ranked at number 1. So just an interesting stat. I thought I'd let you know about that one. Marvel Stadium, Saturday, 10:35 a.m. Essendon, $3.70. Gold Coast, $1.28. Found something again, Gold Coast.
I love them.
Yeah, we all love we all want them to play finals, Mitch, but 9 doesn't go into 8. So
I know,
it's
but
going to be interesting.
They've still got this game, though, interestingly, at the end of the year. This is the first of 2 games they're going to play against each other in the next 8 weeks, which is fascinating.
Yeah. I think the Suns, I can't pick Essendon on form. I mean, they've been battlers.
I love what Essendon are doing, though.
Too many soft tissue injuries and other injuries.
But I love what they're doing. They're taking it on. They're playing young guys. They're
Well, they
trying.
haven't got any choice.
Yeah, but at least they're doing. Like, at least I know they haven't got any choice, but at least they look like they're doing it. So I'm happy with it. The Suns should win. I'm all in on the Suns. I think they're going to be top 6. I reckon they'll play finals.
Okay, top 6. Okay, right.
Good draw to finish.
Okay, you think that's a hard ask. What about this one? Saturday, 2:15 p.m. Geelong, $1.01. Richmond, $15.
Geelong win.
Yeah, I think just the wheels off a little bit on Richmond at the moment. And they're, you happy with the 5 weeks for Tom Lynch?
No.
Why?
Should have been more.
It should have been more?
Should have been more.
How many?
Season.
Yeah, I think 5. I
So,
think 5's
to be
enough.
honest with you, the fact that it didn't connect is not the point here. The point is he threw a haymaker on a football field. If that connects to the back of his head, that can cause a lot of damage. Tom Lynch is lucky he didn't connect.
Yeah, he
But
was.
at the end of the day, the AFL, I always go back to, do you want to see this on Sunday morning at Auskick or Saturday morning at Auskick? No, the AFL should have made an absolute example of this. We are so big on concussion. We suspended Paul Curtis for 3 weeks for a rundown tackle. 3 weeks. He throws a haymaker and gets 2 more. What are we doing?
So
are we serious on concussion or are we just...
So the chairman, Gleeson, his comment around that was it was more by good luck than good management. And interesting, the comment from Tom Lynch on, because I've got a finger that's been fused, I can't close my fist. And I'm going to quote one of our colleagues on another show I do, Mitch Turner. Great line. He said, he quoted the great the O.J. Simpson trial. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. Well, he said they should have used the line, if the fist can't be closed, you must oppose.
Oh, God. Mitch would say that. Actually.
Anyway, having
but
said...
no, I'm sorry, but I just think it's too lenient. Like, this is one of those ones you make an example of. No one ever does it again. You suspend him for 8 weeks, nobody does that again.
I'd suggest that the Dash twins, Barley Smith and Max Holmes, are going to have a pretty good field day against Richmond at the GMHBA.
Yeah, I love what the Tigers have done, but they're a young team at the end of the season. They're just tired.
Yeah,
and it's a natural. Adam Uze has won this year from me. If they sat back at the start of this year and said, this is what we want, you've won this year. You've got to finish okay, but they've done really well.
Okay, Gabba, Saturday, 5:35 p.m. Brisbane Lions, $1.22. Port Adelaide, $4.25. I like where Brisbane are going the last couple of weeks. The question is, can they finish in a flurry, Port, as Ken looks out the door onto greener pastures?
No, I think Brisbane will win this, but I really like what Port have done. Zach Butters is a great player, isn't he? Connor Rosie looked excellent at the weekend. Mitch Georgiades is in some sort of form, playing really well. Miles Bergman's re-signing's a good thing for them, albeit I'm so confused as to why he's getting $1 million a year apparently for this deal. Like, no offense to Miles Bergman, great player, but he's never been an All-Australian, never won a best and fairest. I don't know.
Well, you look at the talent in the Port Adelaide side and then you look at the Brisbane midfield.
Oh.
It's just stacked.
But they're not even humming yet.
No.
I still feel like there's another gear to go. And I spoke before, I said the Bulldogs, you don't want to play in September. Something about me says Brisbane have got another little gear that they're prepping, and I don't know. There's something in the back of my mind. Every time I watch them, I just think they're in third gear right now. They'll hit fourth, and then come finals, they'll hit fifth, and it's look out.
Yeah, they are a team full of veterans. They remind me of one of those old vintage cars when you stick the key in at the front and you just wind it up. And it takes a while, but once it's going, it just goes forever. So that's the Brisbane Lions for me.
Did you park your dinosaur next to it?
Yeah, maybe. Saturday, 5:40 p.m, Marvel Stadium. Interesting game, this one. St Kilda, $3.30. Hawthorn, $1.32. I'm picking Hawthorn to win this game.
You're not going the happiness insurance?
No, it is a game. It's a banana skin game for Hawthorn. A, it's under the lid at Marvel. And B, I really like St Kilda for 3 quarters last week. They've had a couple of decent weeks. They should have won that game against
God,
Freo.
it was dour.
Yeah. I know, mate,
sorry.
but they do boa constrict games onto their level, so that'd be their key here.
If it wasn't for Alex Taru, you'd fall asleep during a St Kilda
Gee,
game.
he was good last week.
He's incredible.
11 spoils? 12 spoils.
12 spoils, yeah.
Which is a club record. 16 is the AFL record. So
He's most this year.
doesn't he remind you of Rewalt?
He looks
With
like
that
him, doesn't it?
shocker blonde hair.
But he's just, wow, they've got one there.
That was game 2 last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast during the week, and they're the guy, he's the guy that you want on the back of your Guernsey. Now, like St Kilda can sell that. Like they did with Nick Rewalt back in the day, you can...
And before him, Trevor Barker, another blonde player, and before him, Carl Dittrich, another blonde player.
He's the kid now that in the next 5 years that everyone will be wearing his number on the back. So give him an iconic number next year, and let's see it go. But look, Hawthorn will win, but I can't watch St Kilda. I'm sorry, I find them so boring to watch. They boa constrict games out, and then they just make it a fight. And then when they get down, Fremantle broke them. They decided to try and open the game up and win it. And all of a sudden, the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes was actually fascinating football. But I don't know why they don't do it for 4 quarters. Well, I know why they don't do it for 4 quarters, because they don't have the personnel to actually play good football.
The caveat I have on Hawthorn at the moment is the out of Josh Weddle. I think he is
Massive
a really big out. Can play forward, mainly plays back, but can go forward, can play midfield. There are some players coming back in the next 5-6 weeks. Will Day is going to be huge for Hawthorn. Mitch Lewis running around for Box Hill. Cal Shadir taking some nice intercept marks at the moment, so he could come back very quickly. And I think if you look at the forward line, Jack Gunston, 7 goals, career best last week. Mabia Charles had a really good season. So you look at the St Kilda defence and you think, well, yeah, you've got Cal Wilkie and you've got Toru and a few other, but I think Hawthorn shouldn't have enough firepower, particularly with their small forwards, to win that one. SCG Sunday, 11:10 a.m. Sydney, $1.58. Dockers, $2.40. Fremantle going for win number 8 in a row. Seven in a row. 7 in a row. Sorry, I've given them one more than they should have had.
That's okay.
I'm going to go against. I'm going to be unpopular. I think Sydney's found enough form to start, and they are favourites. I'm going to pick them to win this game. I did like the ruck combination of Darcy Jackson last week, but I think Brodie Grundy he's one of the form ruckmen in the competition, so he'll be no easy beat. And Hayden McLean's a pretty good backup too. So, as always, Sydney, you worry about too many midfield goals, not enough players in attack who can steal the game. But I think now with Goulden back in that team, Heaney can spend a bit more time forward as well. So I like their capacity to score. They're at the SCG. There's the surface concern. But I think Sydney win this one and break Freo's run.
Look, I know I went on about the surface before and probably got a bit carried away, but what I will say is that if it does favour anybody, it probably actually favours Freo with the inside mids. So I think that's why Freo might get the job done, to be honest.
Okay, last game of the round, Sunday, 1:20 p.m. Adelaide, $1.22. Melbourne, $4.80. You looking forward to this game?
No.
I can't say I particularly am.
Crows are so good to watch, though. Like I
They
watched
are.
them before the Freo game.
Are they
I
the
was in
most
Melbourne.
entertaining team in it? I think
They're
so.
fun. Dan Curtin looked good. Ben Keys is an excitement machine. Their backline's young and undersized.
Monster
and
forward
somehow
line.
gets stuff done.
Very
For us,
underrated defence, monster forward
Everyone
line.
knows I love Riley Thilthorpe. I really like Jordan Dawson.
Haven't mentioned Rankin yet.
Oh, Rankin and Rochelle, they're really good. Melbourne can't score. And it's the same problem for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I don't understand what they're doing. They need to. I actually like their next generation coming through. I reckon Simon Goodwin needs to blow it up. Melbourne need to blow that club up.
So
that list up, sorry.
If it's
and
not
just,
for Melksham or Pickett, they're not scoring, are they?
No,
That's
but
the
just blow
problem.
the list up and try and find something. If you trade Petrarca and Oliver at the end of the year, do so. If that means that you're going backwards for 2 or 3 years, I think that's okay because I don't think this club's going to win a flag. Unless they, if they maybe had Jake Waterman in that team, maybe. But even then, like, there's no one able to kick it to Van Rooyen and Fritsch at the moment. I don't know if is it the chicken or the egg? Are they not a great forward line or are they not delivering it well enough?
A bit of both.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like so for me, I think you just got to introduce Langford, maybe play Petrarca forward. Give Oliver that tagging job again, maybe on Jordan Dawson. Just throw some stuff around, try some stuff. Throw Trent Rivers back in the midfield. He looked good there last year. Now he's not in there.
Kicking efficiency down a little bit, Trent, this year.
Yeah, but I wonder if it's where he's playing. Like I just think Melbourne aren't going anywhere in the next 2 years. So why not take a step back to hopefully take 3 steps forward?
How many did you get last week?
All of them.
So did I.
Yeah. I got the little work gift voucher thing for it actually.
Why didn't I? I got 7.
Well, I got closest to the margin.
Oh, did you? Okay, fair enough. Time for the Thirsty Camel mailbag, Mitch.
That's
this
what I'm gonna
week's
spend it
special Hahn Super Dry Stubbies Camel Club member price is $52.99 a carton.
I got a $50 gift voucher.
Join
so I
up
need
in store
$2.99.
or online today. Well, why don't you get your Camel Club membership card out and you can put them together. Well, you can't win this because you're not allowed to. But
no,
this week we'll be giving away a $50 digital voucher. Thank you to our long-time sponsor, Thirsty Camel. Get your questions in for next week to TheWestSport at wanews.com.au.
Send them in. We love them.
Please include your mobile number at the bottom of your email as we will send you a digital voucher if you are a weekly winner. Mitch, the first one is from Maney from North Perth. I think something needs to be done to inject some interest into the second half of the AFL season. Post the bye rounds, the top 8 is virtually set, and there are many meaningless games with a number of clubs having nothing to play for. On top of this, the staggered bye rounds means that some teams have to play 4 more games than others before they get their bye, which seems unfair. And of course, we have the scheduling, which is also inherently biased due to the teams each club plays twice and playing some teams twice before they play others at all. Maybe conferences isn't the answer, but something needs to be done to ensure the season remains alive for more than just the first 8 weeks and solves these other issues. I don't agree that it's only 8 because I think there's 9 teams in the hunt here.
Yep.
But maybe wildcard round is the way to go. I mean, I'm a big one on conferences or playing 17 and then recalibrating. But maybe the wildcard round can inject some interest so you get 10 down, still interested.
I'm going to say right now, everyone needs to take a big, deep breath. We just came out of the bye rounds, which are shocking. Just go back to one weekend when no one plays.
Well, let's not have an opening round. We won't go down that pathway.
But what I'm saying is I think everyone's just got a little bit of mid-season fatigue right now. Finals are coming. There's top 4 to play for. There's top 8 to play for. I think there's another twist in this season. There'll be debutants.
Oh, there's going to be twists.
There'll be injuries. There'll be players going out for season-ending surgeries. There'll be talk about draft picks. It's going to ramp up again. There'll be talk about trades and free agents. All this is at the moment, it's just that mid-season lull quarters where the
mid-season malaise.
Yeah,
Mitch.
it just grinds a little bit for 3 or 4 weeks and then it kicks off again. This week's not a great one. It's the bottom 9 versus the top 9.
Yeah, I
There's
know.
not some great games. I think I read somewhere
There will be
though,
a couple of upsets.
there's some big games coming up in the next 4 or 5 weeks. So let's just take a little breath. We'll get through it.
One of our old-time contributors who we haven't heard from a while is Raoul Ballantyne from South Perth. G'day, fellas. It's been a while since I wrote into the show. Raoul, don't be a stranger. Write in more. We love you. But I wanted to raise something that's been bugging me, the glaring difference between how the AFL and NRL handle HIA, head injury assessment protocols. At the moment, the NRL is light years ahead when it comes to looking after their players following a suspected head knock. Last week's Penrith-Canterbury game, Bulldogs forward Daniel Saluka Fafita copped a knock to the head on the very first hit-up of the match, immediately taken off for an HIA and ruled out within just a few minutes. Swift, clear and player focused. Now compare that to Collingwood West Coast. Harry Edwards took a hit to the head and what followed looked more like a Benny Hill skit. He's right, it did.
It didn't look
than a professional sporting event with the club doctor running around the field trying to get to him. It's clear the AFL has a long way to go when it comes to managing head injuries. They could do a lot worse than taking a leaf out of the NRL's book. Quicker assessments, better processes, and putting the players' health first. P.S. Still loving the show, but I miss Quarters squabbling with Barra. Raoul. I don't mind that.
We can bring Barra back.
Well, no, you can include him. Yeah, he's too busy to speak to us.
I love that email. And what I'm going to add to it is the one the other day at Fremantle game when the game stopped for Josh Tracy when he went down. I'm all for that. That's fine. Josh's got to come off. You don't stop a game and then stand up again and stand up full forward.
This is the knee to the hip?
Yep. He has to come off. If you stop the game, you've got to come
But
off
it wasn't
the ground.
an HIA.
But you've still got to, you've stopped the game for an injury.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm happy to do that, but I know that you can then
You
stay
know what,
on.
that-
You've got to come off first.
So
though.
that's not an HIA rule. That is as tough as a Nullarbor steak, roadhouse steak rule. That's
No,
what that
don't
is.
get me wrong.
How tough is that play?
No, don't get me wrong. That was tough, and I'm glad he's okay. I'm just saying to you, you can't stop a game for a guy injured and then just get up and stand in the goal square. You've got to come off. If you're going to stop the game like that, St Kilda
loved
were out.
Yeah, I don't agree.
They were off.
I think if it's an internal injury or a head injury, different story. But that's just copping one in the wrong. But I must have hit a sweet spot because
But they just
I'm
stopped
still
the game.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know.
I just think if you stop it, you've just got to come off. Like
Yeah.
I don't get it. Anyway,
anyway, well,
I'm in a ranty mood today.
You are very ranty. High quarters, is there any truth that grumpy Ross Lyon was overheard complaining? Did we really have to wait 100 years for this Thursday night fixture? That's from Michelle. Very funny, Michelle. Thank you for your contribution once again. Hi, guys. I'm in two minds about how Jai Amos is going at the moment. Is he out of form and confident, or is he playing the team game? There are calls to drop him, but I'm not too sure as he takes the other team's best or second defender. I'd also like to hear your thoughts. Also, Mitch, you said that not many people would drink chamomile tea in Rockingham, and you're right, as my tea bags were out of date. Goes to show that no one buys them. Keep up your good work with the pub. That's Paul from Rockingham.
Thanks, Paul.
I think Jai, well, they've won. They're on a roll. And the forward line's working well, so I'm a bit loath to change it.
Does it matter how many each player kicks if your team's
No.
kicking?
No, as long as you could do team contribution.
So if Tracy kicks 3 1 week, Amos doesn't, then the 2 weeks later, Amos kicks 3 and
Sort
Tracy
of what's
kicks
been-
1, it works.
sort of been happening that way.
Look, I can understand it. I think he needs to go. I think he needs Matthew Pavlich to go down there, to be honest, and actually just have an outside voice and just say, because I was listening to the commentary from Melbourne from Matthew Pavlich, and he was basically saying Jai's not doing a lot wrong. He's just missing that last little attack on the footy.
That'll come though, won't it?
Yeah, but I just reckon if you have Pav go down there and say to him that and just explain it to him. Like, sometimes you just need the outside voice. In any line of work or life, sometimes you just need someone from the outside to come in that's not regularly there.
The
And I just
question
wonder if
is,
that'll help.
the balance of that forward line, is he a liability? No, he's not.
No,
he
100%.
actually contributes to the balance of that and the symmetry of those three forwards. So
The best thing is they never fly together, those 3 forwards. They always get out of each other's way. They know each other's game very well.
well, they're starting to get to know each other's game.
And the way Freo play, unfortunately, it really doesn't suit a lead-up forward. It suits the pack mark forwards. That's why
Yeah.
Voss and Tracy are playing so well at the moment. But don't worry, there'll be a day, mate, when Hayden Young comes back, Jai Amos will feast.
Good point raised by Paul, though. Thank you for your email.
What is chamomile tea?
Finally, hey, Quarters. Yeah, get chamomile tea. It's not bad. Licorice and mint for me, mate. Hey, Quarters, do you think the AFL have missed an opportunity, or alcohol? Do you think the AFL have missed an opportunity with the buys? They have only scheduled 9 buys this year. The past 2 seasons also have the complications of opening round and the pre-finals buy. From the Roy and HG philosophy, where too many are not enough. Are the AFL neglectful, not maximising more buys?
Yeah, we
this
need
season?
more.
With Tasmanian Devils' introduction to the competition down the track resulting in extra buys every week, the expectation is almost too much for the fan to contain. That's another funny
Let's have a buy
Bit of
between every final.
tongue-in-cheek
and
mail from Andrew again. Thank you, Andrew. Hey,
Let's have a buy between every week of finals.
okay.
I'm being facetious.
Okay,
I
of
think-
course,
I think
of course,
need-
we want the buy move pre-finals to pre-grand final.
Yeah,
That'll
and we
do
want the
nicely.
buy. We want one buy, I reckon, with a week off.
Yep.
Stop the split rounds. They're
Yep.
boring. There's not enough footy, and then they make it overlap. The games overlap. Like
Put something
what are we-
special on during that week too. Then
under 18 Carnival, Marvel Stadium,
Yeah.
3 back-to-back games.
Let's do it.
Let's see the teenagers play. Let's
There you
have a
go.
look.
It's easy. We've solved their problem. Who are we going with? I've got Rael and Maney from North, but probably Rael.
I like Rael. He's back too. I want to encourage him
Well
to
done,
keep writing.
Rael. You are the winner of this week's $50 digital voucher thanks to Thirsty Camel. You have been listening to the West Sports Show. We have been brought to you by TABtouch. Got the touch? Download the TABtouch app today. Imagine what you could be buying instead, Mitch. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. And remember, you can watch or listen to this podcast on YouTube Music. Leave us a rating and a review, and don't forget to follow this podcast so you don't miss an episode. Mitchell, well done once again.
Thanks, Quarters.